Hello guys, welcome to my channel. The less is more. So today we will discuss an editorial from The Hindu, and it is about G20. Okay, so let's discuss this one of last editorial on G20 after its successful conclusion at New Delhi. So who has achieved what? Okay, so the title of the editorial is India's Moment. The G20 summit was reimagined as a forum for changing the wider world. The Leaders Summit of India's presidency of the G20 grouping held over the weekend resulted in major success with the unanimous adoption of New Delhi Declaration, especially significant as there was little hope of one. Expert diplomats and officials had downplayed expectation of India's negotiators being able to pull off what few have achieved thus far. A detente between the Western G7 EU axis and the Russia-China combined over the issue of the Ukraine war. At UN Security Council, not a single statement has been passed so far as a result of vetoes by both the sides. While Indonesian G20 negotiators in 2020 were able to pull off a joint statement with reference to critical of Russia, the G7 pushed for this. The consensus did not last, and Russia and China refused to have them repeated this year. As every Indian ministerial meeting ended without success, in a joint statement, India's negotiating team took the more considered approach to achieve consensus on other issues before tackling the paragraphs on Ukraine. There was a breakthrough after the G7 compromised on its insistence of language critical of Russia by having more neutral paragraphs. The declaration statement achieved what is truly impossible in today's global polarization, in that India's middle path policy has been its biggest strength. India's middle path policy has been its biggest strength, along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's personal outreach to many G20 leaders over the year. So, the G7 and EU axis compromise on its insistence of language critical of Russia by having more neutral paragraphs. Another key initiative was enlisting the Global South, including many G20 members who were reluctant to take sides in the tussle and wanted instead to shift priorities to global development issues. As a result, the 83 paragraph declaration made progress on cryptocurrency regulation and crystallized a figure of near rupees 10 trillion needed for climate change. Adaptation and mitigation projects for the Global South. Although it failed to agree on any fossil fuel phase out deadlines, there were several other initiatives too. The admission of the 55-member African Union has corrected an imbalance that so far only allowed the EU in as a regional grouping in the G20. The Global Biofuel Alliance was an important step towards more research and delivery of alternative energy sources for a world still dependent on fossil fuels. Finally, an India, Middle East, Europe corridor with the promise of US investment has dazzling possibilities, but details of its funding and execution still need to be drawn out. India's attempt to take the G20 outside of the ordinary single venue template to hold 200 meetings in over 60 cities, drawing more than 1 lakh official visitors from 125 countries has been noted as a unique initiative, albeit at considerable extra cost. It remains to be seen whether future G20s will find it a viable example to follow. Above all, India's G20 leaves an indelible mark in its attempt to popularize an organization seen till now as a staid and boring event, bringing world leaders to high table where our current subjects are discussed, decisions made are not scrutinized, and without bringing real change to the lives of the wider global population. To that end, Mr. Modi's decision to hold a virtual review meeting in November before India gives up its presidency is a chance to ensure implementation and scrutiny of the decisions made over the weekend that has been dubbed India's G20 moment. So, there were 1 lakh officials visitors from 125 countries, 200 meetings in 60 cities. Okay. Global Biofuel Alliance, India Middle East Europe Corridor, India Middle East Europe Corridor. So this was for today. Let's find out the 5 new words. Unanimous, adoption of New Delhi Declaration. This is 1. Middle path policy. progress on cryptocurrency. Relation. Okay, so these were the words that I will use for even myself. Okay, I would recommend you to comment in the comment section 5 new words that you will use for yourself. Okay, for daily conversation as well as writings. Okay, so till then, bye bye, signing off for the day.